Hey, everybody. It's me, it's RJB. I'm a poet and didn't know it. All right. It's making it up as we go. Welcome, everybody. Hope you're having a great evening. It is Saturday, episode 30, and we're having a good old time. Let me get everybody in here, and we can start tonight's exciting, fun evening. First, we got Paul 2, Mr. Hammerquist. Hammerquist. I always say D Hammerquist. I don't know why I do that, but it is what it is. How you doing, sir?
Doing well.
Good. And then we have Old Paul. Old Paul, how you doing, sir?
Hey, I'm doing great. Thank you.
There you go. And then our special guest this evening is Mr. Don. Is it Greilick? Am I saying that properly?
Greilick.
Greilick. All right. I was close.
My dad would argue with
Southerner,
that.
so I can say what I want.
I've heard it many different ways.
There you go. Yeah. Usually, I get a lot of Brian for my first name, and they're like, "Is it Brian or Ryan?" I was like, "Whatever." My ex-wife calls me a lot worse. It doesn't matter. So, all right. Well, let's get started this evening. So, just want to bring up something for everybody, which is our buddy Hamilton. He's doing the CNC with me, and this month is Founders Month. So if you're interested in joining his community, I know there's a few people that watch that are already part of this community. Here's a thing I got from the site showing all the cool stuff that you do get from it. If you do an annual plan there, it's $98.20, and that doesn't ever change. It always will stay at $98.20. It won't go up, but you get like the whole entire catalog of Hamilton's CNC Elator SVG pack, all kinds of stuff. So, and he's got a whole community over there that is pretty cool. There's chat rooms and stuff like that. It's challenges, all kinds of stuff going on there. So, if you're interested in that, you get the pricing that's shown here until the end of the month, and then Founders Month is gone, and then you don't get 38% off of it. So, if you want to join in with that, now's the time. So, to go along with that, we'll start off with a little bit of an announcement. As one of the perks of being in CNC Elator, you do get like special like club stuff, and one of those is going to be a twice monthly CNC Elator podcast live stream thing, and the first one of those is going to be on February 1st, and that podcast is going to be hosted by yours truly. So thanks to Mr. Hamilton for including me in on the CNC Elator. And so if you're interested in all that and you just can't get enough of Ryan, there'll be an additional a live stream twice a month on Thursday nights at 9:00 for CNC Elator folks, and it'll be on the CNC Elator, CNC with me platform. So if you joined in there, you can watch along. I know he's coming close to like 400 members already.
I think he posted today. He's surpassed 400. Yeah.
Did he hit it? Wow, that's awesome. So congratulations to him. From what I've seen in there so far, it's a pretty cool community. There's lots of stuff to get involved with on it, and people with all different kinds of CNC machines doing all kinds of stuff. So definitely check it out if you are interested. So all right, well, let's see here. We'll do a quick little what you doing, Mr. Paul Corliss. What have you been working on this week? Anything fun and exciting? Oh, he's been working on the letters.
Of finish on my letters for my sign.
Nice.
And I'm pretty happy. I'm pretty happy with the way he came out. I told my wife I'm not totally happy with this thing. I may end up making another one out of wood, but hey, that's the way it goes. You experiment with rigid foam, and then you go back and make it out of wood.
Hey, there you go. Well, and if you do it again, you can always try. Well, even with the rigid foam, you could try some different things, like doing some kind of a cool texture on the letters. That would look pretty neat. Maybe if you did like a wood grain that would span across the lettering, that would look kind of cool.
Yeah, continuous grain across. That'd be kind of cool. Yeah. And then I got my Wham Bam.
Oh, nice.
I'm not gonna purposely blow mine up though, like another person. We all know. I plan on making you, and I hope I never use it, but I'm gonna have it set to where, should the need arise, it will be there.
Nice. Are you thinking about using it on your laser, or where are you going to put it?
I think if I put it on anything, I'll put it on my laser.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea
because it's got the most firepower.
Yeah, and
it's enclosed, where my CNC and my 3D printer are not enclosed, but the laser is. So
yeah, and when you pew enough, you have a lot of potential for fire.
Yeah, and if that thing goes off, I don't want it going off in an open area.
Yeah,
I've used a powder fire extinguisher before, and after I used it, I thought I should have just let it burn.
That's awesome. Very awesome.
That's all I got.
Good. All right. What about you, Mr. Hammerquist? What have you been up to?
Well, I got my Wham Bam as well. Still in still in the box.
Oh, nice. Very nice.
Finished up the Honor batleth. I know I showed these off last week, but this time I added some leather straps to them.
Ooh, nice.
And then the hanging, and it says Honor. It's got magnets on the back, so you can put this on your fridge and have a handy weapon on your fridge at all times.
And when somebody goes for your ice cold Reese's cups, you can cut their arm off.
Exactly. And then the phone holder.
Oh, sweet.
So in this iteration, actually, you can feed your cord through. I lowered this part right here so you can actually touch your screen as well. So
nice.
Very happy with how this turned out, and then incorporated the batleth into this part as well. So
sweet.
Nice.
Yeah, so pretty happy with how that turned out. It's been pretty rainy here, so I haven't really got to paint, but I got about 80 more things to go paint once it's not as humid. So finish up and get all that Star Trek stuff ready. Got 20 some days, and
so, are you gonna put those files on Etsy or anything, or
no, but anyone wants them, send me an email.
Cool.
I respect the IP, so hey, it is what it is. I'm not going to sell. I don't want to get in trouble.
I hear you on that. Well, me, I'm working on stuff and just haven't been too productive this week, but hopefully next week is better. But anyway, let's get talking to Don here. We were talking about last week or so, I was watching YouTube stuff and a video came up. I can't remember who it was from, but it was talking about the RapidChange ATC. And I was really taken aback by the whole thing. I was like, wow, that's a pretty cool system. So I started looking it up, and then I saw the pricing and I was like, holy cow, that's insane. So I was able to get in touch with Don, and Don was gracious enough to come on and tell us about the Rapid ATC or RapidChange ATC. and it's got all kinds of cool stuff that that it works on different platforms and everything. So, Don, can you tell us like what the RapidChange ATC is and what it does?
Yeah, so basically it allows the spindle and the momentum of the rotational force to first thread the nut on. It's the nut is captured in the magazine and held against rotation. So as the spindle spins down into the nut, once it gets threaded all the way, the momentum of and the mass of the spindle in rotation, and coupled with the speed, the RPMs, allows it to tighten the nut. And when I first tested it out, when I first got the idea, I wasn't expecting it to produce any kind of torque at all. All I wanted was a place to pick and place my cutters from. I watched different videos with mechanisms spinning the like a motor that would spin the nut up, and I thought, well, it just seemed to me that the spindle would be able to do the same thing. So I tried it the first time, and I was a millimeter at a time, doot, till it finally made contact and zoop, sucked it right up on the spindle. I thought, oh, wow, that's cool. So then I took it off and I plunged straight down into it, and it zipped it right up. And when I went to, I didn't have reverse rotation on my machine at the time. So when I went to take it off, I thought, oh my God, it's tight. It was much tighter than I expected it to be. And I think I was only running about 800 RPM. So it wasn't as tight as I would have done it by hand, but it was tighter than I expected it to be. I was, and then I played with it a little while, and I got it to the point where it was tight. I figured, looking back on it, I was probably getting about 12 foot-pounds of torque. But I knew that guys were going to dig this, and so I got my spindle running in reverse, and then immediately it would fail, dropping it off, because you get that nut spinning at 1500 RPMs, and I started out with a hex type design. I thought I had that thing sitting here, but I don't see it now. Anyways, it was just like a socket, hex design. And the problem was that it would jam. It would get jammed, and it would sit crooked, or it wouldn't sit all the way down inside the socket. And I spent 7 months whittling away at the geometry, trying to get it to, sit loose, where it was not loose, but not jammed.
Yeah.
And so one day I almost gave up. I thought, man, I'm just not going to get it to sit down in there after dropping it off. And it really bummed me out, because I thought I had something going on with it. And I was already into it so much. I was like, there's got to be a way. And so one day I was playing with it, and I thought, what if I put some hardened pins in there? And I put 6 hardened pins in, and sure enough, it quit jamming. It didn't have all that extra surface area to catch on. And then I ended up, then it would nick up the clamping nuts a little bit, and they'd started getting burrs on them. And I thought, well, nobody's going to like this. So I don't know. I was making some one day, and I had some ball bearings sitting there, and I thought, well, what if I tried ball bearings? and that took care of that problem right away. So
So
after
there's
that,
there's
I-
like pins inside of the whatchamacallit thing here. There we go. Inside like the holes there. Is that what the
Right.
bearings are where those
so
the
the
holes are?
holes allow the there's just enough room for the clamping nut to pass through with about 10 or 15 thousandths clearance. And I do that because if it gets even slightly off center, you can hear it rubbing on the cap. So
Yeah.
it'll alert you if your machine loses steps, or if you lose steps, or you bump the spindle and it gets jogged out of position or whatever.
Sweet.
So then inside that, under that cap, there's a socket that is spring loaded to the forced up with a spring, compression spring, and then it's in a pocket where it can't rotate, and so it's allowed to move up and down. But when that nut's in there, it's not rotating. It spins it on, and then we do. As it's threading on, there's a little friction and whatnot. So I bring it up and then hit it one more time to finish the torque on it. And then when it's dropping it off, it just spins right through. It catches that nut and spins it off. But at that point, it's depressing the nut down as it's spinning off the shaft. So there's that spring in there to keep it from bottoming out. And we just went to a new size spring, so it'll accommodate a 30 millimeter cutter on an ER20. On an ER20 collet nut, it will accommodate up to 30 millimeters diameter. So, like for V bits or whatever with inserts. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So there's the sizes that you're showing. It looks like you have the an ER11, 16, which is probably going to be your most common, right?
Actually, ER20 is the most common.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
And then you got 25 and 32. So you
32 is in beta testing right now. I got a couple guys. I don't have a 32 ER collet 32 spindle. My biggest spindle is a 4 kilowatt with a ER25. So I've got it going out to a couple guys to play with and help me dial it in. But the bigger the spindle, the more the torque of the spindle is actually irrelevant in all this. And that's why you can take a spindle with a torque of 0.6 foot-pounds and produce 12 to 15 foot-pounds, because it's all about the mass spinning and the sudden stop. That's where that mass spinning wants to keep spinning until it's tight. And so the bigger the spindle, the less RPMs you need to tighten it up. I've got a guy in Germany who's got a 6 kilowatt spindle with an ER25, and he's been testing it for several months. So
that's a massive spindle.
Yeah, I'm excited about the ER32. I don't really have any doubts about it. It's just a matter of getting it on somebody's machine and tuning in the process.
Wow, that's awesome. Very cool. So I was looking around. I got some screenshots from the website, and so what are the big things that you need to run the RapidChange ATC? Is you need a spindle that can go backwards.
Correct.
And then you need to be able to run one of the supported systems or controllers on it. So you can run Fluid, you can run Mach 3, UC CNC, Acorn, and Linux right now. But you also have a bunch of the other ones that are planned iterations coming out here too.
Correct.
We have a lot of people that use the Onefinity. So the Masso is going to be which you have a workaround for already, but that's going to be a big one for them, I would think.
Yeah, we do, Matt. So the main thing with these control platforms is can you write your own custom scripts? Okay, so M6 is a macro. M stands for macro. So it's the macro. M6 is a generic tool change, calls a tool change. And unfortunately, Masso doesn't allow you to write your own scripts or modify the M6 script. So your hands are kind of tied. I just set it up on I got Masso set up on my test machine, and I haven't played with a guy by the name of Guillaume on our Discord server. He was one of my early testers, and he wrote a post-processor workaround for Masso that basically, when it calls the M6, the post-processor runs the G code, because it's all basically just G code, and then it runs through the function Masso's manual tool change function, where it will then go, you have to press cycle start, and then it'll go and set the tool length offset. So I haven't used the post processor yet. I just basically got it running, and then I got onto something else, and I didn't try the post processor. I ran G code with it, and you know, any machine that will run G code can pick and drop the tool. It's just a matter of, will the machine know which tool it has, right? So with Masso, it does, it works great. But you have to hit cycle start, you know, after it makes the tool change, it'll ask you, you know, load the tool, and then it'll set the tool offset. So there is that intervention. But like when I'm machining our magazines, it's all HDP, and a lot of times it winds up on the cutter and stuff. So I have a pause program in, and operator just clears the debris off the cutter and hits go. But
Cool.
Now, how about on the original Onefinities where they use the Buildtronics controller?
okay, so I think that's a Gerbil base, or Gerbil HAL. Okay, so we've got a guy in the community that's working up Gerbil HAL right now, and Gerbil is something that's on our plate. It's got to be written into the firmware. Well, it does with Gerbil HAL too. So Gerbil is going to come, but it's probably going to be a little bit. Right now, we're right in the middle of Mach 4, and the basic scripts for Mach 4 should be done, I would assume, by the end of next week. And then it probably will take a month maybe to build out the UI. We've got a really, my oldest son actually does all the, well, other than what the community's taken on, like Linux CNC and Gerbil HAL, and then the workaround with the Masso. He's done all the scripting for Mach 3 and UCCNC and Centroid, and Fluid NC is where we started. He'd been playing with code for a couple years. He's a Little Rock firefighter. He lives in Arkansas, and he'd been getting into just learning code to try and find an avenue out of the fire department. And so when I stumbled onto this thing, I called him up and I said, "Hey man," I said, "I think I found something really cool that a lot of people are going to like." I said, "Could you see what you could do with this Fluid NC? It's open source software." I said, "Would you see if you could get into the firmware and write this M6 function?" And I didn't really know anything about it. And he'd never hardly seen what a CNC, well, we had a CNC machine when I had my son come to work for me, but he'd never ran it or anything. So he was like, "Yeah, I'll take a look at it." And 2 weeks later, no kidding, I typed in M6G1 and it went over and picked up the tool. And I thought, oh my God, I was like a kid at Christmas time. I swear. I was like, oh, this is going to be so sweet. And then I spent 7 months trying to get it to really work right.
Nice.
I kept saying, man, I guess I understand why nobody's ever done this. You know?
Yeah. So how,
It's not
well,
gonna work.
we have a question from Rob here. We'll ask this, and then I have some other questions for you too. So how do you stop it from cross threading onto the nut?
Yeah, good question, and it's one of the big ones, And it never really occurred to me either at the beginning. Like I said, the first time I tried it, I was just zipping, millimeter at a time till it sucked it up, and then it really wasn't later till it occurred to me that the problem was, getting it to start right is just about holding it perpendicular to the spindle. So the CNC machine is perfectly repeatable, and in the socket is held, the nut's held, in a fixed position, perfectly level and perpendicular to the spindle. So it unless the spindle's really out of trim, or unless it's it's not lined up over the pocket, it never cross threads. Now, during development, I crashed my machine constantly testing code, because it doesn't ever work right the first time, and yeah, and so I would let it get out of focus a little bit and just keep driving it, because so there were a few times where it would get stuck, but then I realized that so it'll produce about 15 foot-pounds of torque, ER20 2.2 kilowatt spindle to the clamping nut. Well, you got a hardened spindle with threads, and you got a hardened nut, and there's no way 15 foot-pounds is going to allow you to. I mean, you would have to put a 3-foot wrench on a spindle and try to actually physically mar the threads and cross thread it. It doesn't have enough power to damage the spindle. I've had it get stuck half a dozen times, maybe over thousands of tool changes, and I haven't had anybody report it happening to them, but my test machine got beat up quite a bit, and I never really took too much. I never worried too much about tramming it or anything. I mean, I kind of wanted to see, what would be the worst case scenario.
Yeah, it looks like Ken, our buddy Ken here he's turtles on your Discord.
Yeah, he's been working on Linux CNC. There's a couple guys working on it, and he's got what looks like a really nice UI that he's working up. So it's really cool, man. We've gotten a lot of community support. We started testing, sending out some beta testing units back in May, and they went, to Europe and Australia and Canada and the United States and all around the world. It's been a lot of fun. I've met a lot of really cool guys in this community, CNC community, and yeah, it's been a lot of fun. It's a lot of work, but so it's really neat to see people get involved, and because I mean, we're only two guys, right? Me, and I did all of the design and development for the magazine physically. And then my son James has been writing, 90% of the code. And then my other son Thomas and my daughter Elizabeth have both got on board, and they helped me build them. And
cool.
My daughter does some networking and stuff. I never realized how much work this was going to be to try and bring this out for people.
All right. Well,
it's a learning experience every day, man. I'll tell you what.
Well, God bless you, because you actually got your kids to do work for you.
Oh, man. Yeah.
My kid won't clean his room. That's awesome. Very awesome. So what's so there's different ways of doing an automatic tool changer. So yours is zipping right up onto the threads of the nut. And then we have, I guess, would you think that, or would you say that the most common way is the pneumatic way? Or
as far as I know, that's the only other way.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, you got wrenches, and then you got ATC spindles, which use the tool holders, which by the way, they use ear collet nuts too. So an ATC spindle could even change tools with our system. So, but that's, that's it. You got ATC spindles, and then you got wrenches, and then, rapid change fills a gap right there.
So just to give everybody an idea of what the cost difference is on these, the going the pneumatic route. I want to say I saw one of the systems that's out there. I want to say it was like $3,200 or so, something like that, and it's like maybe like a 5 spot or 5 tool changer. So this is the Rapid Change ATC, the 4. Don's got 2 different versions of it. He's got the basic, which it's just the what the chassis, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Then the standard is the one that has the cover, the dust cover.
Right. The standard has the dust cover with 2 NEMA 17 stepper motors that drive it. And it's got the IR sensors on either end, which is like a through beam, and it detects the presence of the clamping nut. So, if it fails to drop it or pick it up correctly, it will detect that when it's used with one of the integrated softwares.
Gotcha.
It checks the pin at 2 different locations as a fail safe. And I threw that in there when I was crashing my machine all the time, and I thought, man, we got to check for this, and so I thought of the brake beam sensor, and at first I was using a laser, and I had it centered on the magazine, and I was using it to literally set the tool as it was pulling up out of the pocket. And that was really cool. And I'm probably going to go back to that because it's so much faster when the tool comes up, and as it's coming up out of the pocket, the laser measures it, right? And so it never has to move to a tool setter. But the problem with that is it's going to be probably expensive, because the problem is aiming that laser beam and having it perfectly aligned and all that kind of stuff. And I just didn't have, the setup to try and build something that sophisticated. But it would make it even a bigger time saver. So I've got a lot of ideas where I can take this to the next level, and I've gotten a lot of great ideas from guys in the community too. One guy wrote a script. He's got 2 running side by side. And he wrote his own UCCNC script for it. So he's got 2 rows of 7 actually. He bought one, a basic magazine, which is just the block, and you were making a distinction. The basic magazine is the magazine, and you can bolt it to your machine. You don't need any inputs. Obviously, you need a tool setter somewheres, but it will make tool changes, and with no electronics connected to it or anything. The dust cover just keeps the debris out.
Right.
I mean, you could put a pause in and vacuum it off. I did that for a long time, while I was trying to make something that was worthy of it.
Go ahead, Paul.
Does the tool have to be smaller than the nut?
Okay, yeah, pretty much. So on a ER20, okay, so for ER11 and 16 right now, the maximum diameter for the tool is 18 millimeters. But I expect I could probably get that close to 24. The ER7, maybe on the ER16. I'd have to look. I haven't investigated that, but I was doing about 19 millimeters for the ER20s, and I just went to some larger springs that will allow 30 millimeters diameter on an ER20. And the ER25s will be a little bit more, almost 1.5 inches, and then ER32s will go up to about just under 1.75 inches. So it's just, they got to be just a little bit smaller than the overall diameter of the clamping nut.
Yeah. So go ahead.
No, go ahead.
What I was going to say was, so this is the 4. So we have 2 different versions of it, the basic and the standard. The one on the screen is the standard one with the dust cover. The basic version's $200.
Yeah.
on the website. The standard one with all the cool nooks and crannies is 500. So, I mean, what a $3,200 or whatever it was, or $500, or
Yeah.
it's
Well,
amazing what
yeah, it's,
difference not doing the pneumatic and making just everything simple it does for the
yeah,
cost.
it really doesn't get any simpler than that. And the thing that really drove me, to spend 6 months trying to make it to get it to work when I wasn't sure if I could, was just the idea that if I could, how inexpensive and simple to bring, real automation to the little guy, like me, and it's yeah, I mean, I knew what it would do for people, and so it's all I do. I've never worked harder on anything in my life. It's crazy.
Oh.
But it's fun. I meet a lot of interesting people, and everybody seems to really like it.
Yeah.
Peripherals have their problems, but it's coming along. But the dust cover was just kicked my butt, man.
Oh, I'm sure. Just the timing on it and everything else has to be a bit of a chore. Just to tell the pricing on for the ER11 ones, the 6-space one is $250, with the standard version being $550, and then the 8-space one is $350 with the standard version being $650 on that. I mean, so the cost comparison compared to one of the pneumatic systems is, if you want to do automatic tool changing on a hobby machine, this is obviously the way to do it.
The other thing too is, I haven't really done a study of ATC spindles and systems, but it seems like you can get them for, I think they sell a spindle for less than $1,000 somewhere, Crest maybe, but you're talking about a 800 or a 1.5K spindle. By the time you get up into, 2.2 kilowatts or higher, you're spending a lot of money on those spindles.
Yeah.
And so far it works better with the bigger spindle, But, and the crazy thing is, with the little ER or the little ER11, but the little 75-watt spindles that come on these Genmitsus and whatnot.
Yeah. I was gonna say,
tiny DC motor spindles. I get 6 foot-pounds with a DC motor spindle, one of them little ones. It tightens it right up.
Yeah, there's one right there.
Yeah.
I saw the short on your YouTube stuff.
That spindle will tighten the nut up enough to cut.
Wow.
Without slipping for what it's going to do,
That's crazy. Yeah, it's a really cool system. I mean, without having to have all kinds of extra electronics to it, it's a lot of it is the code part. So
yeah, it's just physics. I mean, it's like it turns your machine into the tool changer. It's just as accurate as your machine is. Good limit switches and repeatability is all you need. And it literally makes the spindle and the machine itself the tool changer. It just sits there.
So when you buy the magazine, what else do you need to get to make it work?
Right. So the spindle obviously has to run in reverse to drop the tool off. And most VFD spindles will. A lot of times they don't come with the extra relay on the board. I know with Avid, I've got a couple guys that have Avid machines that are, one of them, I think it's J&N Woodworking. He's got a channel here on YouTube. I don't know that that's exactly right, but anyways, he's got an Avid machine, and he's hooked up lasers to it and stuff. So he mapped out taking a out of the box Avid and adding a relay and to send the reverse signal. So all VFDs are capable of running in reverse. Sometimes it's a matter of connecting a relay to an output to run that signal, because what it will do, it sends a signal to turn on it running forward. And then it also has the capability, if you use 2 relays, to send another one using another pin to send a signal to turn on in reverse. So aside from that, you know, I've got the dust cover control worked out now, where with the standard magazine, you get a little controller board. It's got a little AT Tiny on it, and it just runs the step and direction for the dust cover. I actually hooked it up. It operates by running that signal to ground. So you can hook it up to a rocker switch. I've got it hooked up to a Hal sensor and a rocker switch on my machine. And so as the axis moves over the magazine, it just automatically flips open, and you don't have to hook it into the control board. Now you can hook it up to an open axis and wire it to your controller, and it'll run through our configured, our integrated software. You can also, with this board, you can hook it up to an output, where a signal from an output will close that circuit and open it up. And then you could hook it up. You could hook it up in parallel to a limit switch and a rocker switch, or even to your output and a rocker switch, and be able to manually open and close it. So it's got. We just finished the board and got some in, so that we can just start sending them out with the standards.
Awesome. Very awesome.
Makes it real easy to hook up.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then the only other thing is the IR sensor. The IR sensor takes an input, and with our integrated softwares, it'll detect the drop off. But that's really only necessary if you're going to walk away from the machine, while it's running. If you're going to let it run, it's a good thing to have. But if you spend a lot of time around your machine while it's running, then it's not really crucial. So yeah. You could take the basic magazine, bolt it to your table, set a tool setter next to it, and you're making automatic tool changes.
Jeez, that's cool. I'm going to be hitting you up when it comes time for the Christmas challenge. I'll warn you right now, Don.
If you mount that spindle on your machine, I'll send you one to play with.
Oh, that'd be awesome. Yeah. That'd be really cool.
Absolutely.
So trying to think of
Paul.
What?
You should make a video about it.
I was trying to think of what else I wanted to talk about with the
3D probe adapter.
Oh yeah.
That I wanted to. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool, because you were saying you needed to have a bit setter.
Well, you do. Yeah, you need some type of tool setting. It could be a puck. I don't never like the pucks because delicate points on the bits.
Yeah.
But they, right here. The ones like this, spring loaded, they work great. You can set it next to the magazine. They're pretty cheap, they're like $50-$60 or something. But the little 3D probe one is pretty cool. I was building them in at the beginning, and it came about when I was sending them to my field testers, because to put one like this in, you got to hog out a big, you can get it to fit in there, but you got to hog out a space for it. And it just really wasn't going to be conducive to producing them in quantity. So I just stumbled across this little 3D probe. Well, I had one, but I didn't realize that. I didn't think about putting a disc on it and turning it upside down until I seen. I was going to get one, and I seen they had it, showed it in Amazon, in one of the little, the different pictures that they have of them, and I thought, oh wow, that'd be cool. And it fits right in perfect. It's just really the perfect fit for it, because it works where you take the magazine, the normal pockets, and we have an insert that just plugs in to one of the ends, and I've got a little divot for the cord and everything to fit in so it doesn't get in the way, and down through the housing so the dust cover will close over it, and it just, you know, they're pretty accurate because it's like a Renishaw style sensor, right? It's like the 3 tripods on ball bearings, and as soon as it tips or anything, they're pretty good. I ran actually I crashed it, and then I ran it afterwards, and I was getting like 0.003 deviation with the same tool hitting it every time. So
wow. Close enough.
Yeah, you know, I mean, you know, you can use whatever one you want. So if that, you know, you need real precision, and you know, you want to spend the money on a real precise tool setter, that'll work.
That's awesome. Ken's got a question here. What's the difference between the older version of the 6-pocket standard and relative to the new all black models?
Not having to print orange housings and stuff. Well, yeah, I mean, I hate to say it, but so I bought 2 bamboo printers.
Oh, nice.
And they do such a nice job. I was like, wow, this is great. Because I had a Creality, and I was like, no way I'm going to make parts with this thing, you know, for the housings and stuff. And the bamboo is just fantastic. But about 2 months ago, one of them went down, and I have not been able to chase down the exact problem. Close as I could, I bought some sensors and stuff, but nothing's working. So, you know, I just bought 2 of the P1Ps, or I'm not sure which, the lower version, the enclosed lower version. But
yeah.
I originally bought 2 of the X1s, and they're great, you know, fast, super fast, and they really do a nice job. When I got the first one, I was like, wow, this is cool. These are nice enough parts that we can, you know, not have to think about injection molding immediately.
Yeah.
But when I went down to 1, and it was like, you know, the orange is cool. I was the big orange and black thing at the beginning, you know, it was like brand it, you know, and I've got a lot of graphic arts experience and stuff. So I was thinking about all this, and then it was a little over the top, honestly. So I'm toning it down a little bit, but when you're trying to do something like this, all the different, you know, there's a lot of variations that we got, and some of them are necessary variations, and some of them aren't that necessary. So the color option just became, for the moment, an unnecessary variation that just puts clogs in the gears. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was going to say, no, those are the special collector's edition.
Right. Yeah. Well,
Limited print.
You know what I did when I first launched it? I mean, I knew how cool it was, right? But I was probably the only one at the time. So it wasn't as cool to everybody else. But the first 38, I think, and most of them were people that tested it, and then some people that bought it the first, probably the month that we launched it. They got a little plaque with their name, so and so helped. How did it go? Bring RapidChange to the CNC industry. Yeah. So there are some collector's items out there. I was going to do 100 of them, but they weren't too popular.
Well, so what do you the parts that you're printing, are you doing them out of like PETG, or what are you printing them with?
PLA.
Okay.
And ABS.
Okay. Sweet. Very.
And the magazine itself, that's all machined out of HDP.
Right.
Main body and the cap. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And
Very
then
cool.
yeah, everything else is either printed out of ABS or PLA.
What, 2 months ago, I guess now. I did an unboxing and all that. I bought one of the P1S's.
Okay,
So,
how do you like it?
I love it, and you're exactly right. That's what I've been saying. Like, I don't know. Here's a dune buggy that I printed out with it, and
that's sweet. Yeah, that
print quality is just ridiculous.
Quality is amazing.
yeah. Compared to what I had and was using, even my wife noticed like that it was a difference in the print quality, and she could give two shits about this stuff. You know,
right. It looked good enough to elicit that kind of a reaction out of her, huh?
Yeah. So I'm going to be using it for a product that I'm working on right now, and it's definitely going to be making it much more professional looking because it just is that good.
It is really,
yeah. Can P1S and an AMS is a game changer. It sure is.
Yeah.
You don't even
I don't have the AMS and I haven't tried it. I didn't really need it because I was printing on one color, but that would be really cool. Now I did think that, it would be kind of nice if getting into production if I could have 5 rolls of the same thing and then it just switches over. That would be good.
That's what I like is
just volume for that, but I can see where
just being able to I have the AMS on this one, but it's nice for like I don't have to go change the filament. I've got 4 colors in there and I just tell it whatever one to do. I've only done one print that was multicolored and so far, and it was pretty neat. But most of my stuff that I do it's all single color. But it is nice just having them there. But you can at this point you can just buy multiple kilogram rolls and just have it go to town with making stuff. So
right, I can see where that'll be a big advantage here.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah, I didn't really think about it like that, to be honest. But it, like an automatic tool changer for your printer.
Yeah, pretty much. Except for the automatic tool changer for the CNC doesn't waste nearly as much filament.
Yeah, right. It spits out a lot of filament right at the beginning of every job too. It seems. Yeah. It does do
quite a bit.
Yeah, but I found that with the X1 carbon, I quit using the LiDAR because it just seemed to take too much time.
Yeah.
And I haven't run the LiDAR in a long time, and it's coming out great. So I was really hoping that the P1P is just the X1 without the LiDAR, and so I'm glad to hear that you're getting really good results with yours. They're really great machines. I mean, I think at this point, really, as far as in printers, their printers anyway, like what you're saying with the LiDAR, I that's something I probably wouldn't ever miss. I haven't leveled the bed in that thing. I haven't run the bed leveling thing in probably 2 or 3 weeks. I just tell it to go, and it's perfect every time. I probably should, because now that I said that, I jinxed myself. But but here's something I was messing with just the other day. I'm working on doing banks for my coin banks and all that, and very nice.
I mean, the quality on the side and back, I mean, it's just
it really is phenomenal, isn't it? That's very nice. I used to be in the sign business for a long time, and I used to make signs like that, big ones.
Yeah,
out of metal, with metal sides and backs. That's when I really worked my first CNC machine, was making my faces and backs for my channel letters and my sign company.
Cool.
But that looks really sharp, man.
Yeah, it's coming along. There's another iteration. Yeah, another iteration or two, and it'll be. I might be able to make a few for people. So
we'll
see how that goes. Yeah. But sweet. Well, do we have any more questions out here that we need to check out, or let's see?
Yes. Does anyone have $950 I can borrow?
You want it in big bills or small bills?
Hey, old Paul, you can't take it with you. You better just share it right now.
I've got 5 kids that say almost the same thing.
But I was just doing the math, I was looking at like, okay, well, how much do I really need? Because, I would have to upgrade to the spindle
Yeah.
to make this work. And I'm like, wow, that's, because then looking at the pneumatic, changers and everything. And I'm like, yeah,
You're still-
okay.
Yeah. You're 1/3 of the cost.
Costs, yeah.
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 And you can get a decent, depending on how big your spindle you want, you can get a good spindle in VFD for, between a little over 200, 300, little over maybe just
Yeah, I was
under
looking.
400.
I was looking at
depending on what
Amazon.
size.
Yeah, it's.
I think I bought the 800 kilowatt spindle with a 1.5 VFD, and it was like $230 or something on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was a 2.2 kilowatt for 350.
Yes.
With an ER20.
VFD?
Is air cooled? Of course it doesn't say. Yes, VFD.
Yeah.
Is it a 110 or 220?
220.
220.
Look-
Yeah.
Jerry, you're already like 2/3 of the way there, man. It's just a little bit of all you gotta do now is just get the tool changer. You've already got the hard part. So I put the link for Rapid Tool Change ATC and all that down in the description. So if anybody needs to get there, and also the YouTube link, so you can see this thing in action. It's pretty sweet. So yeah, Don, you've put up a bunch of videos on them and walking people through the sets. The Mach 3 screen set was really cool. That was really well done. It's a very nice, clean design for it and everything. So there's a lot to see there.
Yeah, James did a nice job on that one, and he's gotten a lot of compliments on it.
Good.
I've got a guy that's going to be making a bunch of installation videos on different platforms, and I'm going to be doing more stuff now. I didn't really put my face out there. I just wanted to showcase. All my videos so far have been just showcasing the tool changer, but I think I'm going to get a little more active with it, and
Awesome.
be a lot more installation and tidbit videos coming up too.
Yeah, it's great. I really think it's going to change the game. I mean, it makes sense the way it is for our machine.
It's just a matter of time. The market will demand it, because it's a serious problem. I mean, I used to not use every tool I wanted to use because I'd have to change them. And if you're doing 3 or 4 or 10 or something, nobody wants to change tools. It's a drag, interrupts whatever you're doing. And to have it so cheap and break down to, the smallest machine you could imagine. So,
I was thinking like how you could, you're running your machine, you do a tool change, and everybody's done it, I think, where you have forgotten to reset the Z.
Right.
Well, firewood, broken bits. You jacked it all up because you just messed it.
True.
You forgot the tool, forgot to re-zero it out.
Right.
And
right.
That by itself is worth it. Let's see here. Here's a question here from Infinity Panthers Airsoft. Don, will there be a UI for probing in Mach 3, Mach 4?
Oh, for the 3D probing, I'm assuming. Once we get everything integrated with the basic, the major platforms, Mach 4, and I think we're going to try to hit Gerbil. There's a lot of things that James wants to do, and adding a custom probing function is coming, I would imagine, because once the work's done, little upkeep and bug fixing here and there, but we've got a lot of ideas for different things. I've got a couple different ideas with a dust cover that comes up out of the way, or docks, and so all that stuff would necessarily get programmed in. So yeah, I would say there's a lot of stuff coming for it.
Sweet. Well, good deal. Well, I think we've done a good job on covering everything tonight. So it's I hope everybody else is as excited about this thing as I am, because I think it's pretty cool. I really do. So we'll I guess get ready to get signed off here.
Hey, I just wanted to say thanks for having me on. This has been really a lot of fun.
We appreciate it, Don. It's been great to have you, and it's been a good learning experience. And I think for anybody that doesn't have a good familiarity with the with tool changers and all that, mainly like I know I don't have a huge background in them because it was a cost thing. I wasn't even going to look at it because I'm not spending multiple grand to put one on my machine that I built for, I don't know. I built mine really cheap. I think I have the cheapest Gatton CNC out there. And anybody that's seen it knows that there's screws missing out of it. I took screws out of the thing.
Look at mine.
Yeah, right. It's the RapidChange would be the way that I would go for a tool changer for my machine. Definitely. The way that I operate my machine and everything, that makes sense. But yeah, Don, it's been great to have you on here.
Yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate it very much.
Oh, no problem.
I also want to say, if you go to the RapidChange website and click on the "Will it work for me?" a lot of great info there. Just kind of understanding the system more.
Sweet. Yeah, check out the website and the YouTube stuff that's down in the description here. You'll get into a nice rabbit hole. Mr. Corliss, you got anything else for us tonight?
No, I'm good. It was an interesting show. I learned a lot.
Good. See, look, you can teach an old dog new tricks.
You can. It just takes a little longer.
Good deal. Mr. Hammerquist, anything from you, sir?
Go watch some videos. I need to buy me a spindle now.
Yeah. You just put out something on Carbide Create. What was that, today or yesterday?
It was today. I still see it come up a lot of saving G code in V7, and basically it's use V6. Yeah, unless you need text on Arch, use V6. But I'm working on some shorter videos. Day job is taking up 60-70 hours of my week, so I'm just trying to keep feed YouTube a little bit until I can things slow down there and can get back into doing longer full-fledged projects.
Nice. Very nice. Well, keep at it. And all right, guys. Well, I guess we'll let's see. Oh, there's some stuff showing up here. Just making sure we don't have anything else here. Michael D. Funny, I just switched you on and about to order a Stepcraft CNC with ARC. Nice. Very good. Very good. All right. Well, we will see you guys all next week. Thank you so much for tuning in. And until then, peace out, sauerkraut.
Peace.
Later.